Madisonians, welcome back. My name is Steven. I'm a homeowner, first time in Madison, Wisconsin. I bought a 1,000 square foot ranch house over on the east side of town by La Follette High School. I'm right now finishing the basement to turn it into a 2,000 square foot house. And I'm making this impromptu video. It's not going to be super polished, but I feel like the information is important enough to get it out to you as soon as possible, in hopes that the me can become a we, and that together we can make more efficient, healthier houses that we like living in. So in this video, I'm just going to talk about one of the very first things I did in my house upgrades and why I started there. But before I get to that, in the beginning, I was really focused on efficiency and making my house, perform optimally, right? And if I could talk to myself today, what I would say is what you're really reaching for is, first of all, health and safety. That trumps efficiency by far. That health and safety trump comfort, health and safety trump building durability. Health and safety is your number one priority, in my opinion. I mean, who cares if you got a nice house if it's like gonna kill you, right? I mean, come on. So but the cool thing is if you go after health and safety, you get comfort, you get building durability, and you get energy efficiency. So these other lower tier items like energy efficiency and building durability, like I'd gladly sacrifice those things for health and safety and for comfort, right? But it just so happens that you get those, I'll call them lesser goods, if you're going after health and safety and comfort. All right. So don't like let someone tell you that it's an either or, because it's not. It's a both and. You do one thing and you're going to get everything else. So don't let it be a false dichotomy. Okay, so updates. First thing I did on my house was I went up into my attic, and I was lucky. My attic did not have a lot of insulation in it. From some of these first pictures that I'm putting up on the screen, you will see that the fiberglass insulation, it's loose fiberglass that's in there, is sitting at or below the ceiling joists, which are running right to left on your screen below that green pipe. And that was good because although I had very low insulation and it did not resist a lot of heat flow, so I had a lot of heat loss going out the attic, it allowed me to easily move the insulation aside with my hands and then to spray foam my attic to stop all the air leaks that were going from my conditioned space up into my attic. So you always want to air seal your house before you insulate, okay? So I went to Menards or to Home Depot at this time. This is probably 2 or 3 years ago. And I was buying cans of like the Great Stuff spray foam. I think they had a sale. I think I was getting them for like $1.50 a can. Now that you can get like the knockoff brands for maybe like $2 or $2.50 or something, or maybe they're up to $3. But there was a huge sale on them. I must have bought 100 of those cans, guys. I mean, I bought so much of that stuff. I did not get the big froth packs where you have the big tanks, because I wanted to be mobile up there. So I just got a bunch of little cans and I went around and I moved the insulation aside with my hand, and then I spray foamed the gaps in the top plates. I spray foamed around bath fans, around electrical penetrations, ceiling fans, any sort of lights or plumbing stacks, anything that was going through my ceiling up into my attic, I foamed around hardcore. I even spray foamed the exterior wall top plates. If you don't know what a top plate is, please look it up. But the idea is that when you add up all of the surface area of the top plates, it actually amounts to a pretty sizable hole, right? So, but I spent, guys, probably 40 plus hours up in my attic. Yes, I know I'm obsessive and it was excessive and all this stuff, and maybe I had no life, but I was intent on doing the best job I could, because I knew that once I got down from spray foaming up there, like, I'm not doing that again. It's a one and done deal, and it's a fantastic payback on your time, because it's going to last like for the life of the house, and it's probably going to outlive me. I ended up going, after I spray foamed, I ended up going to Menards, and I bought cellulose insulation, loose fill cellulose, and I can't remember if I had to rent the machine from them too, or if it was just included if you bought like over 30 bundles. But you do a little calculation on their website, and they tell you how much that you need to get, and you get someone with a truck like my brother, and we go there, we pick up the machine, and we get all the bundles of it. I think I had to make multiple trips in my Honda Civic to get all the bundles of the cellulose. And then you take the machine out back, you start loading in the bundles, and the machine actually grinds up the cellulose, and then it pushes it through that green hose up into your attic. Right now at Menards, you can get the cellulose for $13 per bundle of it, so that's like a pretty good deal. Now, when you're up there actually spraying the cellulose in, folks, it is like a hardcore blizzard up there when you're doing this. Stuff is everywhere. You want to have on a really good like breathing mask with like fresh filters in it, because you don't want to be breathing that stuff in. You can touch it with your hands. It's not like fiberglass. It's not going to like cut you or cause any sort of rashes or anything. It's just like old blue jeans and newspaper or something like this. So it's not like toxic. But you want to have eye protection. You want to have breathing protection. Ear stuff, I didn't have anything in my ears because it really wasn't that loud. The machine's louder outside, but in the hose, actually, after you've done all the air sealing, it's actually super fun and rewarding to just be taking this hose and like just spraying insulation all over the place. It's really, really cool. So anyway, so I'm doing that. I think, I can't remember how many bundles we put in. I want to say maybe around 40-ish or something, but it's recommended. I think right now in attics, it's like R49 is how much effective insulation that you need. So an R value is resistance to heat flow. So there is a chart that I'll put up on the screen now that shows the diminishing effects of more and more insulation. So, try to get up there in the R40s if you can. It's not, insulation is pretty cheap, so try to do it to R49 if you can. What I also did up in my attic was, you need to have fresh air ventilation in the attic. So I put in attic baffles in every single rafter bay, so that air can come in from the eave, come up under the roof deck, and then go out up at the little mushroom cap vents that I have on my roof deck. So I didn't have enough of that fresh air ventilation in my attic, and I just made sure that I overdid it. So I cut some extra holes in my soffits, and then I put those roof baffle, or those attic baffles in there to keep the air going up over the top of the insulation and then out. If you don't put those baffles in there, you can get what's called wind washing, and that means when the wind swoops in under the soffit and then comes up through your attic and out the exit vents up on top, it will disturb the insulation and like make big piles up and stuff. So in some places you'll have like no insulation, in other places you'll have huge mounds of it. And that's bad, because when you have spots in your attic that have no insulation, the effective R value of the entire attic drastically decreases. I'm not even kidding. Like an R49 attic would go down to like an R30 or something, or like an R27. It's like really crazy how much just having like a couple square feet of totally uninsulated area decreases the entire effective R value of your entire attic. And when I say effective, it's like if we average out how much heat loss we're getting because of that one spot where there is none, it's really a surprisingly big effect. This is why one area where a lot of people want to insulate their attics where nobody does is the back of your attic hatch. Okay, I did that on mine. I used foam board, but most people, they don't even have it insulated, and it's a huge spot for heat loss. So in some of these other pictures, you can see some close-ups of what the insulation actually looks like. It's fluffy stuff there. And you can see some of that kind of whitish little stuff. It looks like, I don't know, like little ice cream or something. That's the spray foam. And you can see some of the electrical running in there. I brought up a light because it was dark up there. I also had like a headlamp on there to help me out. And I also put over my some of my penetrations, I had to get these foam boxes to put over them because I could not, I didn't want to get the insulation too close to the box because for fire and safety reasons. So I put these boxes over them, and then I spray foamed those so that they were airtight, and then put the insulation over the top of that. Surprisingly, at the recycling centers here in Madison or in Middleton and probably other places, some of these medical companies will throw away these perfectly good styrofoam boxes that you would pay $15-20 for each one at Menards, and you can go there and get them for free. So if you have a bunch of can lights that are letting a lot of air through, go pick up a bunch of those boxes and spray foam those things, the boxes, right to the attic floor, and spray foam around it, and then put the insulation right over the top of that. If you have a newer house, your lights or penetrations might be ICAT rated, insulation, contact, airtight. That's awesome. If your stuff is not airtight, when you move the insulation around with it, you'll see a bunch of blackness or dirty insulation, and that's your hint that your insulation is acting like an air filter and it's not being effective. Insulation is effective when there's no air movement. So consider getting the ICAT lights, or else just doing what I did, putting these boxes over the top. One last thing I'll say here is that you want to make sure that your bath fans are running and venting out the roof. You can see here in this picture on the right, there's a little black, it's actually a little bit of flex duct, but it's a really short, straight run, and it's going from my bath fan straight up out my roof. You don't want your bath fans venting into your attic. That is a huge no-no. You will get mold, so strongly advise against that. So make sure that the ducting, if you use flexed, is pulled tightly. You don't want that to be sagging. It's as short and straight as possible, and that it is insulated, because when cold air hits a warm surface, you get condensation, which leads to a myriad of other problems. So, do you have a problem? Do you need to do this? Do you need to air seal your attic and then insulate your attic? One way you can tell who has a leaking, uninsulated attic is walk around the neighborhood after a good snow, all right, and see whose house has a roof that's full of snow and who has a roof where the snow is already melting, or you might actually even be able to see lines on the actual roof. That's from thermal bridging that's occurring between the warmer attic air and the colder roof deck. Also look for people that have those like electric wire strips on the eaves of their roof. What they're doing is they're trying to heat up the ice that's forming there, because they get ice dams, and they get ice dams because they have too much warm air leaking into their attic and they don't have enough insulation in their attic. So those are some indicators that you might have a problem, or maybe you have really high utility bills. In general, if you have an unconditioned attic, meaning you don't heat it or cool it, you do not want to be storing stuff up there. You want to get that thing as airtight as possible. Then you want to insulate the heck out of it, and then you want to seal it up and never go up there again. That it's like wearing a hat on your head. And when you air seal up there, folks, there's a principle in building science, and it's air out equals air in. So if you stop letting air out the top of your house because of the pressure difference between the top of your house and the outside, then air can't come in at the bottom. So you are most effective to first air seal the top of your house and to insulate it, right? That's where you're going to get an incredible value and bang for your buck, to start in that place. All right. In my next video, I'll talk about what I did next in my home updates. And thanks for watching.